Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things could get totally radical. Now today I'm just fucking excited because I'm going to be interviewing one of my comedy heroes who the first time I ever went up on stage and did stand-up, I did his jokes. Bob Zany. I can't wait. This guy is a legend. I mean, he is one of the most sadly underrated comedians of all time, and I'm interviewing him today. The guy has had an amazing life. The guy was on the Gong Show when he was 15 years old, and around 1990, 91, he lost like close to 200 pounds, and he made an amazing transformation, became much more confident on stage. He was on Rodney Dangerfield's Young Comedian special, the last one that Rodney did, in fact, and it's the one that nobody broke out big from, but he should have broken out big. Him and David Tyree, I think, were the best two on that whole special, and they both should have broken out big. And why they didn't, I don't know, but we'll find out from Bob. So, here is my interview with Bob Zany. Hey, Bob.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am great. I'm just spectacular. I thank you so much for taking the time. I've been loving your comedy for more years than I want to mention. I did your jokes the very first time I ever went up on stage in 2006, and I got huge laughs. And then I went into a rant about Tom Cruise marrying Katie Holmes, and the two black ladies that were left in the room walked up and left.
Well, but my material kept it too.
Yeah, it got big laughs in the beginning, but...
Yeah, we all have to start. I was in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm in Des Moines, Iowa now, and the car that I drove died at the gas station across the street. I just stuck there, and I have to go figure that out after we're done here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing a comedy roundtable in Lincoln with a bunch of about 10 comics who are wannabe comics. So
Nice.
Yeah.
So going back to the beginning, did you know growing up that you were going to do comedy? Were you always funny?
I think I made my few others. My whole family was very funny and very sarcastic. So, In fact, when I went into high school, my counselor said, "You know, your brother Tony's the funniest." So that's what I was up against. So I went on to do it for a living, and he went on to be a taxi cab driver in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's diversity there, I'll tell you. What comedians did you watch growing up that you were influenced by?
Well, Steve Martin, because I graduated high school in '79. That's when I started going to the comedy store. But he was really big back then. And then, Rodney Dangerfield, who I ended up working with for 2 years, Johnny Carson. Those were the ones. Don Rickles.
Wow. Yeah, those are all great comics there. So when you were 15, you ended up on the Gong Show. So did you just do an audition or contestant thing?
Yeah. Well, I had just turned 16 when I finally did the show, but I count the 3 auditions I had to do at 15. And first, they tape you to see if they want you to come into the audition room the next time, which I did. And then if they liked you in the audition room, then they sent you to the producers, and then I made the show.
Wow, were you nervous?
I guess, yeah. I mean, the tape says it all. I mean, it's on YouTube, Bob Zany Gong Show, 1977. But it's the first time I had ever performed live in front of an audience, and it was national TV, so go figure. I've always kind of done it backwards.
And how did you come up with the name Bob Zany?
Chevy Chase was advertising the Saturday Night Live album, and he said, "Hi, I'm that zany, lovable character from Saturday Night Live." And I went, "Zany, I like that." I went to school and said, "I'm Bob Zany Tetrold," which is my real last name, and everybody started calling me that. And then I was Bob Zany Tetrold on the Gong Show, but then when I started going to the comedy store, the MCs couldn't pronounce my last name, so they would just say Bob Zany, and I just gave in.
Yeah. Is that when you came up with the joke that your real name is Big Dick McGee?
No, that didn't come up until I would say the late 80s is when I came up with that. And when I did the Rodney Dangerfield HBO special, even though I had worked for Rodney, people thought he just gave it to me. I auditioned for him 3 times, and 3 times he said yes, and 3 times he said no, and then I finally got it. But I sat after I showcased at the Improv on Melrose for him. Did like 9-10 minutes, and just destroyed. And the manager came up and said, "No one has blown the roof off the room like that." And I felt pretty confident. So next day I met with Rodney, and he went over my whole act, and he only liked 3 jokes.
3 jokes. Wow.
Yeah, and that was the one. He said, "Big Dick and Pete, man, that's the money piece, okay?" But he was pointing out the ones that people are going to go, wow, are going to repeat and remember, and he was right about that.
Yeah, look, I just mentioned it. Shit. What was Chuck Barris like on the Gong Show?
I don't know. I mean, I do remember him patting me on the back saying, "Way to go, Zany," at the end of because I did the 5th show and Take Me to 5 that day. So I remember dancing with Gene G, the dancing machine, at the end when they had everybody come out. But, I mean, it's in the beginning of my documentary, Close But No Cigar, that scene at the Gong Show. And, when I watch it now, it's surreal. It's like, did I really do it?
Yeah.
Kind of like watching old, footage of World War II. Those guys go, was I really there?
Yeah. So from that night on, were you on stage like every night, or did you wait a while?
Oh, no, I started doing shows in high school, and I produced them and put them together. In fact, Tom Bernansky, who was a senior and I was a junior, he asked me to put on the Letterman show to raise money, and Tom Bernansky went on to win a World Series ring with the Minnesota Twins. So, not bad company. And I also went to school with Nia Peoples, who was a year behind me. Oh. And she went on to acting and singing and all that. And about 7 years ago, we started a movie together with Eric Roberts where we played husband and wife. So she used to give me rides to school. And she did a couple shows for me at the Ice House in Pasadena where I really started, learning about producing the show.
Oh, she's a beautiful lady.
Very, very, very nice woman, and hasn't changed since I've known her. In fact, she looks fantastic. You would never know that I was only a year older.
Yeah. And I was reading in my research that you hosted like weekly shows at the Ice House.
Yeah, and that's where I got to meet Garry Shandling and Kevin Nealon and Robert Rule and Larry Miller and Yakov Smirnoff, and they were all part of my shows because they were booked that week, and my shows were, I think, a 2 to 0 Wednesday. In fact, Garry Shandling, I'll never forget this, came up to me after my show, and he said, "Well, you're very funny, Bob. I really love that joke you do. I can't do dick jokes, but I love dick jokes." And the joke was, I said, "I like making love to music, but it's so hard to get my penis through that little hole." I said, "I hate 45s." And he just loved that joke. But later on, he got more freedom.
Oh, that was
then
brilliant.
You watch the documentary of him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, but
I saw it.
It's really amazing.
Yeah, that was a great documentary. I was impressed. It was pretty good.
Said he went up to the Comedy Store the first time, and he had a really good set, and then the next 5 were,
Yeah.
That's, you have to explain that to people starting out, that, that's just par for the course. I mean, I became a Monday night regular by Mitzi when I was 19, I think, or 18, and she said, "Bob, would you like to be a Monday night regular, non-paid regular, non-paid?" So at least I was guaranteed a spot, and I didn't have to stand in line anymore. So I call in, I get my spot. Then I call in the next week for my spot. They said, "Oh, you were taken off the list."
Oh, that sucks.
Your name is on the wall, Tommy. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing your name on the wall, actually.
It's on Sunset Strip at the entrance to the original room, so not bad billing.
Yeah, but you never got to play there as a paid regular?
No, I was. That's how I got my name on the wall.
Okay.
And I started getting paid regular because I got hired at KLOS in L.A., which was a top 10 station. And all of a sudden, people knew my name, and I got to play the main room with Howie Mandel and a few others, and But what happened was they had the Dunes Hotel in Las Vegas, the Comedy Store show, and I wanted to play Vegas really bad because I've been going there since I was a kid with my parents. And so I showcased for Mitzi, and she said, "You're not a Vegas act." I said, "Okay." Then I went down the street and showcased for Bud Freeman at the Improv, and after my showcase, she went, "Bob, would you like to play Las Vegas?" And that was the turning point. I played the story thing for another month in the Improv, and then I said, "Why am I doing this to myself? They want me over here. That's fine." But Garry had a great thing about the Comedy Store and even the Improv. When you're starting out and you're getting spots, he's called it high school. It's really college. Mm-hmm. At some point, you got to graduate and move on.
Yeah. I mean, Comedy Store was like a college, but like it had like a high school mentality with everybody.
Yeah. Well, he didn't call it. He called it a high school, which was true. Everyone was like, vying for whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was out producing my own shows too, so I was there every day, in front of her, saying, "Give me a spot, give me a spot." I was like, I'd call them for spots, and they give them to me, but it wasn't like, I was going to die if I didn't get a spot at the Comedy Store.
Yeah. You had other venues to work out in.
I had other places, baby.
Yeah. And then you did Fraser Smith's radio show?
Yeah, that's the one on KLOS. And then it got so popular in my call-ins that they gave me my own weekend show. So I got to be a DJ for about a year and a half, 2 years. And I got fired, and he got fired. Mm-hmm. Then he went to KMET, and they heard about him getting hired at KMET, so they hired me back at KLOS, and I lasted another year and a half because they didn't want me to go with Fraser. Mm-hmm. And I told Fraser, and he said, "Man, you got to take the opportunity." So,
yeah. And Murray Langston gave you a role in his movie Up Your Alley.
And that, again, was another... That was the whole thing was close to No Cigar is how I got close to a lot of stuff, and then it just wasn't the one. But I was in that movie 3 times, and I was out of the movie 3 times because they wanted to go with Sidney Lumet, I believe, the one who flew over the cuckoo snaps. And then finally Sidney said no, and I'm with the director, and we were going to play golf. And he turned to me and said, "Hey, I got some good news. You're back in the movie." I said, "You don't mind if I don't get excited."
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember seeing this movie on USA Up All Night on a double feature with Murray's other movie, Night Patrol, when I was a kid. Yeah, that movie had like everybody from the Comedy Store at that time.
Yeah, well, Murray actually, in the early 70s, he had a club in North Hollywood called the Showbiz Club. Mm-hmm. And I believe that's what it was called. But everybody used to go there and play. In fact, David Letterman got his dog Blue because the dog was a stray, and Murray took him into the club, and David said, "I'll take him." Mm-hmm. So those are the type of people that would play his club. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard that Deborah Winger was a waitress there, and Murray used to date her. Yeah.
Yep. Murray's dated everybody. Not me, but everybody.
Yeah.
I'm still bitter about it. But not everybody.
Oh, there's still hope. There's still hope.
No, not really. I've outgrown the bag and whole concept.
So, in 1990, you began your weight loss. Did you have a near-death experience that made you want to lose it?
No, I was just depressed. It's something I realize now is just going to be with me the rest of my life. So.
Yeah. Yeah, when I started...
I need to lose a few now, but, what are you going to do?
Yeah. When I got to do your
podcast. I got other priorities.
Yeah.
I got the car across the street that I came in. That's sitting there. Then I have to find someone with jumper cables. Hopefully that'll make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, when I started doing comedy in 2006, I found out I had to lose weight because I was on the verge of having a heart attack. I lost 130 pounds in a year, and I owe it to writing jokes because writing jokes distracted me from eating.
Yeah. There's a motivational speaker named Jacob Glass, and he said something great about weight. You should love your fat, because everything you love eventually leaves you.
Yes. I agree.
There you go.
I agree. Oh my God. So you auditioned for Rodney 6 times to get on the really big show?
No, 3 times. But, you know, I was booking his rooms in Las Vegas and Century City, and I helped him cast the show. I'll never forget, he'd come up to my office was upstairs at Whitsett in Ventura, and I got all these videotapes of comedians for him to look at for the special, and Rodney sitting in the chair, and the tapes are going, and he would doze off, and he came on, and Jack went on to be the head writer of the Tonight Show for 15 years. And in fact, I relayed the story to Jack when I did the Tonight Show, but Rodney was dozing off, and they said, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jack Cohen." And Rodney woke up and said, "Hey, man, that's my real name." And then he dozed back off. He was born Jacob Cohen.
Yeah, Jacob Cohen. Wow. Yeah, and you guys shot your set at the Improv?
Mine was at the Improv. The other 4 comics did it at the Wadsworth Theater at UCLA. And Judd Apatow was the warm-up. I hired Judd.
Wow. Yeah, I love how you're all hanging out with Jamie Farr and watching Fred Willard.
Yeah. Well, Fred Willard was the last-minute replacement on that. It was supposed to be Sam Kinison. And Sam, I guess, was having some problems. Yeah.
Oh.
Fred and I became friends from that, and him and I, we've actually done some stuff together. And when I asked him if he'd be in my documentary, he showed up at the Improv when we filmed him, and the bells on. Good guy.
Yeah, he's one of the greats. You do your classic bits on here. You do the job application bit, which still kills me to this day, and the one about.
I've kind of been retired. I mean, I'll bring it out once in a while if I think it makes sense when I work in the crowd. But I have so many jokes now. In fact, I was saying at the Comedy Roundtable today to him, it's like, as you write and you add stuff to your act, something has to get pushed out. You don't even realize you pushed that joke out. And I'll see an old TV show that I've done and go, why did they stop doing that joke? That's a good joke.
Yeah.
Because I've added more jokes. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and the one about you told the girl if you lost 100 pounds you wouldn't want to fuck her.
Yeah. That was the other one Rodney loved. He said, "Man, that's the money piece too."
Yeah, it is money. It's really, really funny. Yeah, this was the only Rodney special where nobody broke huge.
No, and the reason for that is because by the time that special aired, every channel in the world had its own stand-up comedy show.
Yeah.
So it was no longer special,
Yeah. Pretty soon everyone was doing it.
He broke a lot of people.
Oh yeah. I always
when I was working with him, his attorney also represented Dice and Sam Kinison, and they never got along for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I know why, because Sam was a pain in the ass, but Rodney would say, "I talked to my attorney, and he said the kids are fighting again." He would call them the kids.
The kids, yeah.
They're fighting again, man.
Yeah, I've read Dice's book, and I've read his version of everything, and stuff. It's sad because they're both great,
Yeah.
But I always thought that you and Dave Tyree should have been the two that broke big from that special.
Well, I mean, it served its purpose. I mean, I got a great tape out of it, and people to this day still come up and come see me because of that. So it's evergreen, as they say.
Yeah. But at least did it open doors for you?
Do what?
Did it open doors for you?
Everything you do in this business is accumulative. There's nothing one thing's going to break you. I mean, if you did Rodney in the early days of his specials, yeah. And if you did Carson, like in the 70s and 80s maybe, yes. But by the time I did the Tonight Show with Jay, it was just another show. So no matter how good the set is,
yeah,
not everyone's going to see it. Now with YouTube and everything, a lot of the stuff lives
Mm-hmm. Did you get to have a sitcom deal?
I'm actually doing I just did a pilot called Casino Boss in Carson City, Nevada, and
Nice.
it looks like we're going to be filming 3 more episodes, so we'll see. I've done 29 TV pilots, so maybe this is the one.
Nice. Did you ever get offered from HBO or Showtime to have your own special?
No, and that was the other premise of the documentary was that I never got my 1-hour special. So
yeah,
part of the documentary is me getting a 1-hour special and we getting Galesburg, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Did you do the Tonight Show with Johnny?
No, I got real close to that though, because when I was doing Star Search, McMahon loved me.
Yeah.
And it was the last 6 months of the show, and he said, Bob, I'm going to send a messenger over to your house, and I want you to give me a stand-up tape, and I'm going to deliver it to the casting guy, Jim McCauley. So great. And what happened was that since it was Johnny's last 6 months and it was known, everybody in the world wanted to get on the show with Johnny to say goodbye.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember when you were on Star Search. I remember. What's that?
I beat Carrot Top on Star Search. And in fact, I didn't even need to win that episode because I had already made it to the semifinals. And so to this day, though, Scott and I are friends. That's his real name.
Yeah.
And he, in his live show in Vegas, he played the clip of me beating him on Star Search. So every night I'm somewhere, I'm also on the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, I remember I saw an interview with Jerry Seinfeld, and the guy asked him, "Why do you think Carrot Top gets so much hate amongst comedy fans?" And Jerry said, "Because his name is easy to remember."
Huh?
Yeah, Carrot Top.
Yeah, that could be it. It was just jealousy. I mean, I was doing props when he started coming into his own, and he was doing props of other prop comics like myself. He was even doing one of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I ever even told him this, but he did a thing called the phoneless cord.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hang it, just pull out the cord to the phone and say, it's a phoneless cord. And I'd done it on like 5 or 6 TV shows, so I knew it was mine. But so I get a call from a pretty prominent prop comedian. He said, we got to go after this guy. I said, no, we just got to write a new joke. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. I remember.
He's a great guy. And his show's amazing in Las Vegas. The first time I watched it, I said, I'll take some notes if you want me to write some jokes for you. At the end of the show, I looked at my legal pad. I had like 1 or 2 notes because it was that good. It was like,
Mm-hmm. I know that's one of the tough things about being a stand-up is jokes. Not knowing where they come from or someone else said it. It's like the worst part about it.
Yeah.
But I remember I saw you on a couple Jerry Lewis telethons, and I remember one time the audience just did not get you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
I don't think it hurt me because I did 17 years on the telephone.
There was one particular year, I can't remember what year it was, but this audience was not getting you. And I was like, what the fuck,
Well, first off, it was a paid audience because by the time I got up, they couldn't get real people to hit it. And you'd play to it like a sea of wheelchairs, and you were very far away from the stage itself. So, it was a very challenging show, but I got to really I always did every year, I do my stand-up, and then I would do a sketch within the stand-up. And one year, I had the director interrupt my show and go, Bob, you've been on the telephone for 10 years now. We put together a best-of tape. Is it okay if we play it now? I said, well, sure, go ahead. And they showed this tape, and I'm not in it.
Oh, my God.
So I got to do things like that, which was really, for my comedy chops, very satisfying.
Oh, my God. Did Jerry see you and was like, I want to get this guy every year?
Well, I mean, yes. I mean, he was the final decision maker. But the first 2 or 3 years I was in the studio, Jerry was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then as it went on, he would take go, take time off. But, I mean, in my documentary, there's some scenes of me I was, roasting basically Ed McMahon, and I said something that they cut to him, and he's laughing the phone on the floor.
Oh.
That's what's I think for himself. But, every year, I kept my distance with him.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do the warm-up for the technical Emmys one year. Garry was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, and we sat and talked in the green room for like an hour, and if I could have recorded that conversation,
mm-hmm.
he was so complimentary to me. And I read a few books on Jerry and stuff and how he felt about comedy, and, his big thing is you got to see the funny.
Yeah.
And I think he saw that in me.
Isn't it great when you please your idols?
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, you can't, but I'm not I've been introduced to, but the difference between me and, say, Andy Kindler, who's very, very funny,
mm-hmm.
Andy's making the comics in the back laughing, but not the audience, where I make the audience and the comics laugh, so.
Mm-hmm. You're a comics comic.
Yeah, but also an audience comic. The comics comic is saying that, yeah, the comics love them. Well, what about the audience? Now,
yeah.
That can.
Absolutely. And you're still getting booked, and you're on the road constantly. Do you think you'll ever retire?
I can. I didn't plan well.
Yeah, I hope not either.
Yeah. But never say never.
Yeah, never say never, but I hope you don't, because you're an amazing inspiration and a genius comic, and I thank you for your time, sir.
Oh, you got it, man. Thank you, Tommy, and good luck to you. And remember, I tell everyone, it's about people. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe without people, we wouldn't even be here.
Yep.
That's sarcasm, Tommy.
One of the rare times I didn't catch that. But happy holidays. God bless, and I hope we get to work together someday.
You never know. Thank you, man. Good luck to you.
All right.
Hey,
baby. Well, there you have it. Bob Zany. Ain't he a cool dude? Thank you so much, Bob. I'm glad we got to talk. You're one idol that didn't disappoint. You're fucking amazing. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.